So one of the big problems with the Islander 36 and 38 is prop walk. If you don't know what that is, it's like torque steer. You mash on the gas in an older front-wheel drive car, and it goes that way. Kind of the same thing with the boat. It's more prevalent in reverse than forward. So when you're backing up this, because I have a right-hand prop, this boat tends to want to go to starboard, and it will not back to port. Many discussion, one of the things that you can do with prop walk is to get a larger prop, and then there's pitch, which is the angle of the actual blade. This, I believe, is a spare. It was on the boat, so this is what it looks big. It's really not. It's a 14-inch side to side with the pitch on this one is a 15-degree pitch. So that is a 15-degree. I think it's towards the end where it's, I'm not sure exactly where they measure the degree of turn. And this one is chewed up. It was obviously replaced, and this one just left on the boat. But I've gone down and I've cleaned mine off, and I've seen it and held it and spun it in the water, but I have never actually, it does say on them, they stamp on them their size and their pitch, and I've never checked on that one to see what it is, but I'm assuming it's just an exact replacement of this. So what I wanted to do, and what my neighbors in the Cabarico had done, they went to an 18 and an 11 degree pitch. So bigger propeller, less pitch, flatter, more surface area, and the pitch has more to do with the RPM at a certain speed. So the more pitch you have at a higher RPM, the faster the boat's going to move, which kind of makes sense anyway. But as you flatten it out, when you want torque instead of speed, like you do on a sailboat or a big trawler or a tugboat or something like that, you want to get up there in your torque range at the point where your boat's going to go as fast as it can. This boat is about 8 knots, and the max RPM, or the max torque on this one, is about 2,700, and the max RPM 4,000, but there's no point taking it up there, so you call it 3,000. So you want as close as you can get to 8 knots at 3,000 RPM, and that's all got to do with pitch once you get the right blade size. So I did the best I could. I couldn't get an 18 without spending a ton of money, so I had talked to the company called Michigan Wheel, and they make a propeller that has big, fat, wide blades, not kind of shaped. Well, I'll show here. Not shaped like that one, but they're more industrial type. There will be a little more drag in the water on this prop. Here, let me show it to you. Nice and shiny, brand new bronze. So you can see the difference in the blades on this thing. It's kind of hard to see on the phone, but I mean, it just completely covers it up. The bottom, I kind of laid it over the top. The bottom is very similar, but it's out at the top. Let me see it better that way. This one, the new one, it just covers way more out here. So it's going to get more, it's like a bigger tire on a car. It's just going to grab more, which is what I want at low speed. And it is a 16. When I found it, it said it was a 15-14. So the pitch is 14 degrees. But it said it was a 15, and until now I thought this was a 13. So I'm glad I didn't just go up 1 inch. That would have sucked. So I go up 2 inches in diameter, and with a 14 pitch, it's probably going to be too much. But you can take them off, and they can actually take a couple of degrees or add a couple of degrees of pitch. Probably just go ahead, mount it on the boat, and say, okay, I'm at this RPM, at this speed. And they can do all the math and say, okay, we need to take your pitch down to this. The only problem I see, other than the pitch may be a little too much, which means my RPM is going to be a little low. So rather than, like now I run about 6 knots at 2,100 RPM, I might be running 6 knots at 1,900 RPM, which may be okay, except then I'm not going to be able to get up to my max torque, which you definitely need. So this one, kind of hard to tell with a tape measure like this, but it's about 2.5 inches in the center. This one is almost 3.5, maybe 3 1/4. So without being in the water and without taking the other prop off, I'm afraid, unless there's a lot extra hanging out on the end of this one, that may be an issue. But I guess I'll see when I get down there. I don't know. I guess we'll find out. I will be taking the GoPro with me. I'll figure out some way to at least film as much as possible of it. But let me tell you, I'm a huge eBay fan. This prop new, not including shipping, is almost $700. And I guess it's worth it. I mean, that's a mighty chunk of bronze. That is, well, there's the numbers I was talking about. So it was supposed to be, it was advertised as a 15, that's a right-hand pitch, 14 degree. Turns out, good for me, it's a 16. But I found this on eBay in Canada. The guy wanted $250 Canadian, which ended up being about $220, and I talked him down to, with shipping, it was $208 for a prop that probably would have cost me close to $750 had I just called up a prop shop or gone to somewhere locally and ordered it. So even if it's not perfect, even if I have to go and have the pitch adjusted by a degree, that's still a hell of a deal. So I'll take you with me. Stay tuned and keep an eye out. Definitely subscribe if you like it. I've got a Patreon account. You can help me find the cheap deals. I'm still using my phone here, but I do have a GoPro, but it really sucks. I like making the videos. I love sharing. Love entertaining. So I've got a Patreon account if you guys want to help out. I've got 27 or 28 videos. If you like this one, check some of the other ones out. I'll put a link up here. And again, just thanks for watching. I appreciate it.